guys, Romie here. So this is Romie Reviews here. This is part 2 of Love and Hip Hop Miami reunion. And technically this is season 1, episode 12, just for anyone who cares about that. It starts off where I told you it left off. It starts back off with, so we have young Hollywood trying to go and make something bigger than what it actually is. And when I see something bigger than it actually is, Amara explains that no, they did not sleep together. He confirmed it. He was trying to make it seem like, well, you came to my house, you brought bedding and stuff into my house. She just said there was nothing in your house, so of course I had to bring something. I said, oh my God. He didn't even catch that. But he was saying that because he was trying to make it seem like, well, if I really had an issue with you, why did I invite you into my home? Hello? That's the art of war number 1. Right? Someone into your territory, make them feel comfortable, make them feel a certain way so that you don't go and have to deal with them in the future. But it backfired. It backfired because you're still saying this ignorant stuff, still trying to make this whole case about we're all black. What's the real problem? Latina this, Latina this, Afro-Latino that doesn't make any sense. What's the real issue? And it really irked me because I'm glad that Juju was there and JoJo, because they're both, Juju's like, my parents are black, but they're from Cuba, so they speak Spanish. And so people would look at her and say, oh, you can't be Latina because you're too black. You can't be black because you're too Hispanic, Latina. It's just a bunch of ignorance and foolery all around. And we've all been born into a class society that has made sure that we can't feel like we can come together because we spend all this time trying to enforce these labels that were thrown upon us that really don't fit 75% of us. And so what happens is that we have now Steph, who she's in the middle of this. She was in the middle of a lot of stuff. And because she was in the middle of a lot of stuff, she became a floater and a flip-flopper in a lot of people's eyes. How I feel about Steph? I feel like Steph should have done more to cement, I am with you on this, but not on this. I am with you on that, but not on that. She tried, but I think because both of her friends are such strong-willed, she kind of backed off. And you can't do that when it's real issues going on. And then I realized, oh, maybe you don't see some of this as an issue. You understand because you're also black, but the thing is, because you're lighter, your features in general are a little bit different. And so because of that, you're like, oh, okay, I understand. We all have hair issues, but this whole thing of you being your hair, because the thing was, Amara was saying that her hair grows out and it grows as a fro. Now Hollywood and, well, mainly Hollywood was saying, how does your hair grow out as a fro? I'm thinking, well, if you don't do anything to it, it will grow out in that shape for the most part. I mean, that is true. And Steph was like, yeah, the same thing happens to my hair. I keep it cut so no one would ever know, but that is what happens. But what irked me was that Veronica, she did admit that when Amara was initially telling the story, she didn't realize how bad it actually was, how much he was kind of, I guess, going in on her look and focusing on that. But what irks me is that Hollywood really thought that we were stuck on stupid. He really thought that we couldn't see that he was clearly trying to maneuver this whole thing of, oh, she's just overreacting, it's on her, as in Amara. And he was trying to rope in Steph and Veronica, and it was working. That, oh, she was overreacting on the situation, this was the storyline, we were cool until we weren't cool, and now that I invited her to my home, she accepted it. Like, she comes on camera, she says one thing, it's because when you're on camera, you say one thing. When you're just off camera, you act differently. You do the same thing. So that's why you're getting these type of results. And that's why I'm glad that Juju was there to kind of drive it on home that, again, people do treat these situations very differently. Do see it very differently in the Latin community I'm not a part of it, so I wouldn't know. But from Juju's perspective, she's like, it's a huge thing of colorism is definitely real, and the fact that it's even hinted that it's not is insane, and it makes no sense. Amara's just like, she's not just defined by her hair. It doesn't need to be in the fro. It doesn't need to be in the fro. It doesn't need to be curl. She had it braided and it looked great as well. She can rock multiple looks. She's not here just to go and preach one look. What she is here to do is try to go and just express herself, be the best her, and we're done with this because the storyline has gone stretched out too far. So now we're on to Veronica, and Veronica using the N-word, and I thought it was interesting how Veronica didn't say 2.5 words. I don't even think Veronica had a question thrown at her. Her eyes were wide open. Her lips were perched like, oh, let's see what's going to happen here. Let's see what's going to happen here. But the only thing she did say was her great-grandmother or grandmother, no, I think it was her great-grandmother, was black. And I said, okay, cool, perfect. The issue is, you came out and maybe your direct family don't look a certain way. Because they don't look a certain way, people are going to look at you like, you have more Eurocentric features. And so when you're saying then words like, what? So when the question was asked about how did Trina feel about it, Trina said, you know, at the end of the day, where she's from, everyone says the N-word. It doesn't matter if you're white, black, da da da. And we know in a lot of communities that happens. And Trina said, look, in Hong Kong, it was over in Asia, they were saying the N-word like it was nothing. And they weren't saying it to be offensive. They were just saying it to say it because it's just, because of music, it unfortunately helped expose and spread the use of the variation of the word that black people use. And so I do get it where they were saying that it's kind of hard to go at people because they're hearing it in music, they're hearing it in songs, they know it's not being said offensively, it's just being said to be fun or drive general point, but it's not negative. My whole thing is, you can say certain things in your mind, they don't have to come out of your mouth. And that is where I'm going to keep it at that, because my whole thing is, I'm not one of those people, gonna get myself in trouble. I personally am not like, oh my gosh, because there's a bunch of words that you can say that's messed up, but there's a set few that are specific to me as a black person, purely because I'm black, that, believe it or not, I'm not going to be offended by it because I don't identify what you're trying to place on me. It does not mean I want you to say that to me, especially if you're not black. I'm not going to go and try to fight you. I'm not going to go and get upset. I'm going to ignore it. And I know some people don't like that, but I am. I'm just like, okay, whatever. Oh, okay, whatever. I'm going to look at you like, oh, really? Okay. But then move on. And I think that's how a lot of them treated it. And I will say that I didn't like the fact that Veronica kind of skated by that, and the question was asked to everyone else, and they kind of patsied it. It kind of showed the parallels of how Amara's trying to talk about colorism, and because I guess of how it's being perceived by people, they're treating it one way. Veronica said N-word, and because of how convoluted the viewpoints are regarding other people who don't just initially look black, even if they are, or people who definitely aren't black saying it, that it becomes an infighting. And I do agree that we do need some new words and terminologies to express how we feel. It's gotten lazy just relying on that word that came from a bad place. I 100% agree, but we're going to move on because I talked way too long for that. I would love if the word whoosh disappeared. I know that won't happen. It's not something that offends me or hurts me. But when I see it being used out of the people, that's when I'm like, oh, you're not doing that today. But we're going to move on to some foolery. Now we're on to Prince. Prince is talking to Michelle And Prince was trying to downplay the fact that, yeah, he was on the come up, and Michelle was already, I guess, more established in that area, and they were playing games. In comes Gabby, because Liz is there as well. So Gabby's there, and Gabby from Jamaica. I said, now you're trying to tell me that we have a conglomerate, a conglomerate in Jamaica? That's what you're trying to convince me right now? Like she's not on the set there, but just in a different room. Okay, all right. Production might be cheaper anyway, so he really could be there. I don't know. All I do know is the whole disparity of he was still with Liz at the time, and his friend Gabby from Jamaica came, and she was just embroiled in a lot of mess. And we see this never before seen clip of her sitting on his lap, because it was originally on his side, but then it was in his lap, and they start making out, and I said, Now she says they didn't sleep together, but Blue said, that's exactly what I thought. The opportunity strikes again. And it's the whole thing of, guess what? Liz goes and she walks off the stage because her feelings were hurt. Because it's one thing for it to look, a situation to look bad. It's a whole nother thing for it to actually be bad. And Blue was having a ball. He told Liz, he told Gabby, he's like, all right, Gabby, you can go, bye. In comes back Prince, because he went and followed Liz, and Prince was just trying to downplay his parts and how he reacted, and I didn't like that. Because that's really whack. That is really whack. You could tell this girl liked him. You can tell that even though she said that she was done with him, that she really wasn't, and he knew that, so he took it upon himself to try and double back and try to seem like a decent guy. But then we see this, and the last thing you do is downplay it. We saw what we saw. You said what you said. You have to own up to it. So Shay, she's allowed to go and talk to Liz, because we need to bring Liz back. And Shay says, look, I've been through this game before. The last thing you want to do is not say your piece on this show, because this is the reunion. This is when people still care about you. This is when people are still looking at you. Pleasure Piece talked about how you didn't care about, I didn't care about Gabby. I don't care about Gabby. He just said, are you sure? Because you seem a little, there's something there. He said, no. And that just proved my point. What we just saw just proved my point. So now Liz is back. Liz requests that Gabby be gone. I said, dang, Gabby. That's the last thing you ever wanted to be, expendable. And she just proved how expendable she was to this show. The fact that they cared more about Liz speaking her piece than Gabby being on the show. And Liz essentially said, you're dead to me. I mean, you lied, and then you tried to act like it wasn't something, and it really was, and so we're done. I said, okay, cool. Resolution. We don't need to hear from them, see from them for the rest of the reunion. Now, in comes Trick, Trina, Joy, and Dawn. And I had to say it like that to take a moment, because Trick Daddy's Trick was funny. Trick said, look, I said I was going to give her the divorce, and then I changed my mind. Why? Because you don't want her to be with someone else? You don't want her to be happy? Yep. You know how messed up it is? Because it's funny when someone says honest and truthful and blunt, how funny it can be, even if it's ignorant. That's how this whole scene was. And we were cackling about it because it was too much. And so Joy may or may not be seeing pleasure on the side. They may not be, maybe they're not in a committed relationship and they're just having fun. Maybe that's what it is. There's nothing wrong with that. Pleasure said, we are friends. It is cool. There's no problems. Trina just wants all of this to be done and over with, because them playing games like this is too much. You're too grown for this. Trick felt like, why was it that the two women were on Joy's side? Said, do you really want that answer? Do you really want that answer? And then in comes Shay. No, that was a Bucky moment. That wasn't a Shay moment. That was a Bucky moment. So Shay's on the stage, but we saw Bucky on the screen of the replay. And everyone's going at her because we're all thinking, really? Joy deserved that heat? Joy deserved that smoke? Joy deserved... Why? Why would Joy deserve any of that? Yeah, you were in your feelings. You had a moment. Trina said, you know what, I've known you for a bit, and I was just surprised and shocked and disappointed that you would go at my cousin like that when she didn't do anything to you. You got met, you acted like a fool, and now you're trying to act like, oh, it was justified. It wasn't justified. Own your mess. That wasn't right. And I'm thinking, Shay, you really expect Trina to go and side with you versus her blood, which she's known all her life? Come on now, stop playing the funk. Even Bobby said, you did that to Joy, though, of all people? Joy to the world? Really? So then Blue said, well, Shay, stop it. We're not trying to argue here. You know, I'm trying to grow. You need to grow too. I said, oh my gosh. Just apologize. See, that's the thing. I feel like Blue's been in therapy. And so his therapist one time told him to do that. And he didn't get the whole memo of he needs to calm down and not overreact so quickly or be quick to anger. Or I should say at least loudness and profanity, but he got the whole thing of just apologize and move on. So Shay, it was like pulling teeth because she really didn't want to do it. She apologized. It's like I did what I did. I said, oh, this is an apology. I'm sorry for how it went down, something to that effect. Or it's just like, but I am still sorry. I said, Shay, maybe you shouldn't have just apologized because that's even worse. I'm in pain for you for that. Update for Gunplay. Gunplay's doing well. He's working on his music. Him and Kiara are in a good place. They are together. He's taking better care of himself. Instead of doing drugs, he's taking B12 shots. He's taking care of his skin. He is making sure his teeth are nice and white. I said, well, you're supposed to be a celebrity, so these should have been go-tos. But whatever. You're a street dude, so I understand. Shout out to Kiara. Good woman. She loves her man, and her man did what she asked. And so I'm happy for both of them. I really am. It was funny though when Miami Tip was on there and they were like, yeah. So then Maya popped off. Now with three of us, just Kiara and Miami Tip. Gunplay looking like, so you guys went and did something like that without me? Yes, without you. Because at the time you didn't deserve. Well, maybe in the future, who knows? Yay, I'm trying to help you out here. And then in comes JoJo. JoJo is with her mother and her father. And her father's name is Antonio. So JoJo said, yeah, she sided with her mother in the divorce. She just hated the fact that she was put in that situation because of business. Her father was an investor and he just wanted money. I mean, he just wanted the store to be successful, and the relationship, you can tell that it's strained. But Antonio decided, here's my opportunity. The camera's right there. Okay. See, the reason why I made it so difficult for my ex-wife is because she, mind you, he took off his glasses before he talked to Nina. He made sure, looked her straight in the face and said, my ex-wife, she's a good mother. I can't take that away from her. The problem is, once she came over to the States, then she wanted to go and hang out with her friends. She wanted to spend X amount of dollars. I put her up in a $2 million place, gave her a, what do you call it? Gave her a budget to work with each month. And she was just going and doing whatever she wanted. She stopped being a wife. And the mama said, well, let's be very clear. You were out doing what you wanted to do with whoever you wanted to do with. So that's why I decided to do me. I said, oh, this is messy. JoJo, you might need your parents for season 2 because they were way more entertaining than you. That's the truth. They are way more entertaining. Put the camera on them for 10 minutes and now create 3 separate episodes of content. I'm telling you this. But now it's time for Amara to perform. Oh, I watched that performance 3 times. I said, Amara, you better go. I said, dang it, Mona, why couldn't you just lower? See, this is what you do. This is the trick. And I'm so upset they haven't learned this by now. You go and you put the backing track audio for the show, but you also leave in the live audio so that you can at least hear how the person sounds live. And because you can't tell me they haven't figured out how to make it sound decent live instead of this backing track. Because I get it, it's the first time people are listening to the song, you don't want any mistakes, but like, it would have been so much cooler if we just had the live audio instead, but whatever. Listen to this song. Hey, I am downloading this song, and I got new headphones, so this is gonna be a nice time. It's funny because the song's in English, but because of her enunciation, I think some people, I was reading some people like, well, I'm not sure what she's saying. I said, it's English. How do you not? I hear it clear as day. Anyway, that's it. Please like, comment, subscribe. Maybe you have to come from a background of people who don't just speak regular English to understand, but whatever. I did my review for Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, so if you missed that, it's already up. I'm not going to review Tiana Taylor and Iman's new show. I'll watch it and maybe just do a general thing of support, but that's it. Thanks.